There are many different statements that we use over and over and over and again to try to describe the erosion of civil liberties, as well as just literally freedoms and the rights to function as mere human beings born on this planet, which was given to each and every last one of us for an allotted period of time. It's sad to see that we've got our own particular human race doing whatever it can, everything that it can to take away any advantages from us that we ourselves may have because of just a little right of being born free. We have people that want to usurp control and, matter of fact, want to continue to try to continue with this idea of colonialism and the slavery of the masses of the people. And it is quickly coming to a showdown, the people against the government, or the government who actually has all the tools and resources to what we call technology today. Well, anyway, in the news, Congress okays 30,000 flying drones spying on Americans across U.S. cities. Now, ever since the Patriot Act was introduced to us in the early 2000s, I've often said it once, I said it 1,000 times. It seems like the only act that has ever been against us who are the patriots, because we don't have what you would call ragheads or any Arab influence over here in this country that's perpetuating evils on us, yet we're going out and waging war against all these other countries and stuff, following the same historical path as ancient Rome did. And it seems like that now, since these so-called terror attacks, quote-unquote so-called labeled terror attacks, has stopped, it seems like we have just sat there and saw little liberties just erode right out from under us each and every single day. The Constitution is not in effect, has not been in effect. You can't go into what you call a court of the free people because you're not a free people, and the courts do not belong to you. They are hijacked by the system. You can't get what you call legal representation because they've been trained by the same system who knows themselves that the Constitution is not in effect. So don't you even thinking about going in there with a common law mindset. But it seems like ever since so-called 9/11, which I don't believe. I believe that 9/11 was an inside job. That's my own personal opinion. I saw it when it first happened, and I still have not changed my sentiment to one bit since then. And of course, that's just me. Who am I? Just a little old country bumpkin, live way out here in the country. But I tell you what I see that's happening in this country is just utterly amazing. I see how many people are trying their best to do what you call fight for rights, liberties and stuff. And hey, I can tell you right now, with this beast system that's going on today, there ain't no talking to it. There is no talking to it whatsoever at all. This is just like somebody who is hell-bent at being your enemy. I mean, the scriptures teach me you accept no man against your person. And I don't, and I won't, and never will. But if you continue to keep calling your enemy your friend, then you deserve exactly what you get, and no doubt we're getting it. Drones have been flying all over the United States of America. You go to the airport and stuff, they got radiation scans set up and stuff to help perpetuate cancer inside of your body. We got regulation on foods and stuff. Our foods, everything is just about chemical. We're getting sicker as a population, even with all the so-called perceived technology that we have is supposed to make you well and better. I mean, it's just off the chain that is going on with us nowadays. And yet and still, like a wino will clutch his bottle, we still try our best to hold on to this sinking ship. You know, the Titanic was doomed, and this system is doomed. Let's read a little bit right here. You know, it's almost a thing in the world, and the fact it's a concept of whose time has come, and it will only help to protect us, to keep us safe. Naturally, there's nothing to worry about because there won't be any abuse of technology. After all, spy drones are already being used around the U.S. What's the problem with adding tens of thousands more? In case you didn't know it, and you probably didn't, Congress, with little fanfare, meaning i.e. in infiltration or you know, to have a so-called free press. You know, how can you have a free society when you don't have a free press? So the media never mention nothing about it because they're in bed with the powers that be. But anyway, Congress, with little fanfare, passed an F-8A reauthorization bill last week. President Obama is expected to sign into law that would make it much easier for the government to put scores of unmanned spy drones into the American skies. Now, mind you, they've already been doing this for quite some time. Not only the legislation authorizes the Federal Aviation Administration to develop regulations for the testing and license of commercial drones by 2015, if the law takes in full effect, and it will, it is believed that many as 30,000 drones could be hovering over the U.S. by 2020. The drones, we're talking about big time Big Brother. Big Brother's become a Goliath. I mean, George Orwell, 1984, man, it seems like a far cry way back then. Fiction. Man, that fiction is quickly reality, is it not? Here in 2012, drones, which are widely used in Afghanistan to spot targets and suspect insurgents of the Taliban operatives in that country, as well as neighboring Pakistan, have been used by the American government agencies like the U.S. Customs and Border Protections, a division of the Department of Homeland Security for a few years in an observation/surveillance capacity. Department of Homeland Security also uses use drones in disaster relief operations, and advocates to say that they can successfully employ to firefights and locate missing hikers. Well, anyway, the headline slide show is say goodbye to privacy. Privacy advocates, however, are sounding an alarm, good and loud, but they ain't gonna be heard because your petitions, your pleas, your little cries, that's all that it is. There are seriously policies questioning the horizon about the privacy and surveillance both by the government agencies and the commercial entities. Stephen Aftergood, head of the Projects of Government Secrecy at the Federations of the American Scientists, told Washington Times. Jennifer Lynch, an attorney with the Electronic Founder Foundations, a watchdog group, added that her organization is particularly concerned about the implication for surveillance by government. Let me tell y'all something. The attorneys have all been trained by the systems that run our courts. They all go to the same school. And no matter what, anybody that's any capacity of any government job, they work for the government, therefore they're going to be biased towards government opinions. They don't think like you and I are free people. They think after the paycheck and after the system that provides their livelihood, and that is a hard, cold truth. Let's go on. Her agency is suing the FAA to determine just how many certificates that the agency has already issued to policy. Government agencies has a smattering of private research institutions of allowing them to fly drones in U.S. airspace. The agency says it's handed out 313 certificates in 2011. 313. And by year's end, 295 was still active, but the FAA refuses to disclose. Notice they refuse to disclose. And you know what's amazing? They will say to you, what have you got to hide? What have you got to hide? If you ain't got nothing to hide, then you would tell us. Well, hell, government, what the hell do you got to hide? If you ain't got nothing to hide, then make it known to the American people. After all, you work for us, allegedly and supposedly. Anyway, they refuse to disclose what the agencies have certificates of what the purposes are of said times. We need a list so that we can ask the agencies what are the policies on drone use. How do you protect privacy? How do you ensure compliance with the Fourth Amendment? Because, listen, listen. People listening. I keep trying, if I say it once, I say it 1,000 times. You are functioning after what is called morals and values. Do you understand that? That is the way your mind functions. But the system that we live in is wicked as hell. They don't have no laws except what they call law. The only thing that is illegal to them is the laws that they pass, and then they perpetuate those laws up on you. They push them on you. They place them on you, and then they tell you if you break our laws, then it's illegal. So we're not dealing with people that are lawful. You're dealing with lawless people. You're dealing with workers of iniquity who don't care about what you think one bit. And they're showing you by the laws that they pass. And you're seeing your so-called government officials, so-called elected officials. What I keep telling you, you ain't elected nobody. You may be trying to select somebody, but you ain't elected nobody. They have selected who you so-called have elected. You can forget it. You ain't elected nobody. This is a system of Satan. That's all there is to it. And as long as you keep sitting up here, continually keep calling your enemy your friend, you deserve exactly what you get. You better be preparing. That's what you better be doing. See, they're letting you know that your Fourth Amendment don't mean jack crap nothing. These lawyers are doing nothing but paying a dog and pony show, a stage playing a particular comic relief program, just like anybody else doing. It's all there is to it. They ain't going to change one bit. They know they don't have the power to change nothing. They ain't going to. Currently, the only barrier of the routine that uses the drones to persistent surveillance is the procedural requirements imposed by the FAA for the insurances of certificates. Anyway, Amy Stepp of National Security Council for the Electronic Privacy Information Center told the paper, surveillance society, the use of drones is to keep an eye on American citizens is just the next step in what has to become the move towards so-called surveillance society that is growing rapid in the U.S. In other words, Americans, it's your government against you. Americans, you are the terrorists. And you need to see that, and you need to wake up to that and understand that. Barry Steinhardt, director of the ACLU Technology of the Liberty Program, says that while widening the use of video cameras in American society may have nabbed some criminals, they often provide a false sense of security. It's an illusion of security. Public attorneys like to give the impression that they are doing something about crime and terrorism, he told TheWire.com. Furthermore, we are comfortable with being constantly under surveillance. You know, it's amazing because, see, we live in a society called America today to where they give us the illusion of freedom, but we're all slaves to it, whether you be black or white. We have what you call an illusion of freedom. Wake up.